you just signed the Zero Degree Charter. Can you tell us a bit about the reasons why ESOC is now also joining the Zero Degree Charter?
Yes, ESOC is known for doing satellite operations. But beyond that, we also are engaged in space safety, is what we call it. And space safety is about building resilience against hazards originating in space, such as near-Earth objects that can plunge into Earth, such as solar activities, and such as space debris that can either cause collisions in space or that can re-enter Earth in a really bad case and on the ground. So, and considering that the population of objects in precious orbits around Earth are steadily increasing, actually exponentially increasing, I believe we need to take measures to protect space for future generations. Orbits around Earth are a limited resource, and we don't want to run out of space, because then our children cannot do telecommunication, cannot do navigation or weather satellites and all of this stuff that we learned to appreciate that space can bring to us.
Yeah, I think it's really about like enabling this legacy for future generations, and that means to keep space accessible, right? Mm-hmm. I really like that ESA is taking such a pioneering role in this, and that ESOC is also leading by example by adopting the standards. But how will this actually affect your operations later on?
Well, today we are flying collision avoidance maneuvers, one in about 2 weeks. This is resources intensive, and so the number of potential collision warnings is steadily increasing, and so it would help to make our job easier to begin with if there was less junk flying around Earth. But it's also a moral responsibility to generation after us to keep space clean.
Yeah. What kind of steps can satellite companies take today?
If they are smart, they will build their satellites zero degree compatible, because this gives them a competitive edge. They could be world leading with the environment we have in Europe in being zero degree compatible, because it's not a question if, it's only a question when there will be international regulation. So it will be zero degree compatibility will be enforced because space is not endless. The orbits that we can use around Earth are limited, and there's no way around it. It will have to be done. We are proud that ESA is the first agency in the world that is self-restricting, and so if industry wants to do business with ESA, they have no choice. They will have to be, from 2030 onwards, they will have to be zero degree compatible.
That's a really interesting commitment, and I think it's also an interesting statement to say it's actually a competitive advantage. And also at our organization, at Space Debris DAO, we say sustainability is not an expense, it's an investment, right? So we invest in the future, also the future of the economy. And what other benefits do companies have when they actually take the step to be more responsible in the space economy?
Well, I guess they have a competitive edge, they have a moral edge, they belong to the club. They would be well advised to adhere to zero degree requirements. And I believe they have a chance, also with support of ESA, to learn a lot on how to become zero degree compatible, on how to do end-of-life operations, for example, which structures, which materials to use in order to take the next step.
And what is the vision like? And thinking about the zero degree future, these are quite long-term goals, right? And we often talk about the circular economy, for instance. How would that look like when you think about companies collaborating in a circular economy in the future? What does that mean, actually?
Well, when we are talking about space debris, I would say the first step is not to create any space debris. The next step would be to clean up after us. So the heart of our internal self-restriction is that we are expecting industrial contractors that work on ESA missions to prove a 99% probability that satellites will re-enter on their own. If they don't, there's a 1% chance that they will not re-enter. Then active debris removal mission will be enforced. But you asked about circular economy. This would be the next step, that we not leave satellites in orbit because they run out of fuel, because they run out of control. We would send an in-orbit servicing mission to such spacecraft and do, for example, AOCS takeover, give them control again, or we could refuel them, or we reposition them in other orbits. So not to give up on standard spacecraft, but to do life extension.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you very much for sharing your insights. I personally think it's very interesting to see also big organization now pioneering the way into this future. And it can be a great example for other industries as well. So seeing this whole space economy moving in one direction, I think is great standards that are on the way. So thank you very much.
Thank you for promoting a zero debris environment.
Likewise.